For me, there's a couple of things that keep me motivated. Number one is the young people that we bring in. I'm very big on delegation. I heard something the other day which really resonated with me. I heard someone say this, but you can't bring your same self to your business every 12 months if you want to grow it. You've got to come in every 12 months as a different person.
This morning we're talking to Nick Reilly from Inovayt, and he's going to tell us a bit about his background and about the business. Over to you, Nick.
Thanks, Milton. Thanks for having me. I'm the MD or CEO, maybe moving towards that role of a financial services business, which I started in 2007. So my background was actually accounting, and I did an accounting degree at university. Didn't like university. So started working at quite an early age when it went into an administration role in a mortgage broking business, and then from there became a mortgage broker, and set up Inovayt in 2007. Originally as a mortgage broking business, and then we've since branched out into financial planning, asset and equipment finance, and grown it into a fully fledged financial services business. And 16 years in, still very much growing it. I did finish my accounting degree, so I did get that under my belt. It took me 6 years part-time, but I still managed to get it done. So,
well done. Whereabouts did you get your degree? Is that in Melbourne or?
Yeah, I did a VUT. I'm initially from country New South Wales, down in the Riverina, or up in the Riverina.
Yeah.
So I moved to Melbourne to go to uni at VUT.
Yep.
As I said, did 12 months full time, and then slowly finished the rest of it.
Right, good on you. What geographic area does your business cover?
So very much Melbourne dominated, and that's anywhere in Melbourne, because we're a home loan business traditionally. Obviously, with all the development around greenfield states, whether it's north, east, south, or west, we have clients absolutely everywhere. So, everywhere in Melbourne. We've recently set an office up in Newcastle as well. That Newcastle and the Hunter region is a big part of our growth plans. And we entered the Brisbane market around 4 years ago as well. So as far as other areas we're considering, we're maybe considering Adelaide, but we think there's a lot we can do in Metro Melbourne and on the outskirts of Melbourne and Brisbane and the Hunter region.
Right. How did you get into this business? I know you said you started in mortgage broker, but why? Why there?
Yeah, well, and this is very common in our industry, but most people do fall into it. As I said, 12 months at university full time, it just wasn't for me, the university life. So I just was looking for any kind of job that was in any kind of business that was full time. Had some mutual connections that were in the mortgage broking space. So that was the job that I got. And I guess I was always into numbers and property. So being exposed to that consistently, I actually took a pretty quick liking to the industry. And then I also like dealing with people and sales. So it kind of connected numbers, property, people, sales for me. So even though I did fall into it, I knew pretty quickly that it was an industry that I thought I could do well in and that I wanted to stay in.
Nick, who'd be your ideal client?
I would suggest we've got a very diverse range of clients. I'll just say that first. And the reason is, Milton, is because we do home loans. So we see homeowners. We've had first homeowners that become investors. But our typical and our ideal client is mum and dads who maybe have one home plus an investment property, that are then trying to plan for their future and understand what retirement might look like in the next 15 to 20 years. Right. That's where I think we add the most value. Of course, we've got younger people and people closer to retirement as well. If I look at the financial planning business, a majority of our clients are in that pre and post retiree stage, because they're the ones that need the help the most. Just trying to work out what retirement looks like. So people building wealth, generally in their maybe 40s, and then pushing towards retirement is probably where we add most of the value.
Nick, what's the biggest challenge you're facing in the business right now?
Without a doubt, people. Without a doubt, people. And they're good challenges as well. But I think the thing that I've learned, and one of the biggest challenges I've had in business, is coming from a sales background and being a good salesperson. The minute you start to build a business, you're building other people around you. So you need to understand leadership. You need to delegate. But I think of where we spend all of our time in our business, it's people. It's making sure people are happy. It's making sure people are performing. Making sure people feel valued. Making sure people have a purpose and a vision. And that's a challenge that will not disappear. You know, we might have external challenges such as government regulation or market conditions. That people challenge will be there all the time. So I definitely say people, but at the same time, it's also rewarding.
Yeah. What's the biggest learning you've had since you've been a business owner?
Probably that you're not going to keep everyone happy. And being okay with that. I think when you start a business yourself and you slowly build a business, you generally create a really good culture. You have a small business, you've got everyone that's on the train. But I think as you start to grow, you realize that not everyone's suited to what you're trying to do.
Yeah, true.
And I think for myself personally, I've tried to keep a lot of people happy when maybe it wasn't the best decision, not just for them, but also for our business. So sometimes with people, you should let them go because you're actually holding them back by keeping them in your business. So the biggest thing I've learned is you've got to do what's right for the business as a whole, within reason, and just accept the fact that it's not going to work for everyone, and then that's okay. That's probably the biggest thing I've learned, and continue to learn and continue to get reminded of that on a weekly and fortnightly basis. So,
what have you learned about yourself during this journey?
That I'm quite resilient. I think as you build a bigger business, there's lots of ups and lots of downs. You lose control to a degree when you start to rely on people around you, whether they're management or middle management. You remove yourself from being a revenue producer. So again, there's that trust. So yeah, you just go through some really difficult times, which are offset by the rewarding times. But I think for me, it's resilience and understanding now as I get older. Like I'm 40 years old now and I've been in the business for 16 years. You just develop a resilience and you know that you can get past things. You've been there, you've seen it before. It's not that bad. There's a way through this. So resilience is something that comes to mind for sure.
How do you find your inspiration each day to do what you do?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I get asked the question a lot from people that have been in the industry with a long time. And how are you still going? How are you still building it? You know, Milton, I've always wanted to build a business. I never wanted to be a long-term mortgage broker. It's always been, I want to build a business. Yeah. So for me, there's a couple of things that keep me motivated. Number one is the young people that we bring in. I'm very big on delegation. I heard something the other day which really resonated with me. I heard someone say this, but you can't bring your same self to your business every 12 months if you want to grow it. You've got to come in every 12 months as a different person. Yeah. So I think for me, if I look at my own trajectory as our business has grown, my role is continuously changing every 12 months. I've gone from a mortgage broker to a CEO. So yeah, and there's a lot of milestones in between there. Yeah. So that keeps you motivated because I have to continue to learn. I have to learn to lead people. I have to learn new things. I have to learn to deal with bigger expense bases. But also bringing in the young people. I have a lot of young people that hold management roles in our business, and they keep me motivated. They teach me things. They inspire me. You know, they've got a lot of skill sets that I don't have. So definitely surrounding myself with good young people, and my role always evolving every year when I come into this business and do it all again.
Nick, how do you hold yourself accountable?
I'm quite lucky that I'm very driven person. I've been accused of being a robot at times by people that know me well. So I'm scared of failure, to be completely transparent. So I would say for me, I'm just naturally driven, and I naturally have a work ethic, and so I think that has a big role in keeping me accountable. But as you grow your business, you also have other people that you're accountable to. So I've brought in other shareholders into our business. So I think you become accountable to the peers that you create in your own business.
Yeah.
So I think that, and just a combination of fear of failure and just lucky I do have a natural work ethic. So,
do you have any favourite quotes or sayings or things you read that keep you focused?
oh, there's one on our wall here, which
Yeah.
says, "Where focus goes, energy flows."
Yeah.
And
Yeah, good.
I really like that, because I find as you are building your business, you can get pulled in so many directions, and you have to keep your eye on the prize. You have to remember what you're actually trying to achieve in your business. And something else that comes to mind is learning how to say no is something that I've really learned over the last 15 to 16 years. And again, that also relates to that, where focus goes, energy flows. You have to, what is the goal you're trying to achieve? And if there's anything that's going to take you away from that goal, it needs to be a no. And the other one, which I mentioned, which I actually only heard 2 days ago, we have our own podcast, and it was we had a guest on, and you can't bring your same self to the business every 12 months if you're trying to grow a business. And that just resonated with me to the core, because I just think about my role, how much I've evolved and changed. And there's nothing truer than that. You need to keep learning, you need to keep educating yourself, you need to keep exposing yourself. So yeah, I'd say those two are top of mind at the moment.
Great. What would you say to someone thinking of going into business?
I would say back yourself, number one. I think anyone who puts their hand up and says, "I'm going to go into business," has some level of drive and some level of ambition, and probably a skill set, because they think that they can, they can do it in their own organisation. So I would say back yourself, number one, and don't be scared of failure. I think for me, that fear of failure definitely has held us back in the early years at times.
Yeah.
And I would say surround yourself with mentors as soon as you can. And I didn't have that, and only because I wasn't exposed to mentors. I kind of fell into business. I went from a mortgage broker to, okay, well, I'm going to build a business. But from what I've learned now, mentors and people that have been there and done it are absolutely pivotal to your success. We implemented an advisory board in our business 3 years ago, and it was the best thing we've done. Having experienced people help us through big decisions and significant decisions that can have significant consequences. So if I was kicking off business now, I would go and find a mentor that had been there and done it, who was willing to give me the time, and I would probably take more risks earlier in the piece. It's very easy to take risks early. You've got plenty of time to recover, and there's not as much at stake generally early. So they're two things that I'd say. Apart from all the normal stuff, do your cash flows and understand there's a market for your business or for your product. Yeah. But I think more high level, if you really want to be successful, back yourself and surround yourself with mentors.
So if you started a business again, what would you do differently, apart from the mentors? What would you do differently?
I'll definitely be more aggressive. I would definitely try and grow at a quicker rate. I think one of the things that we've done well in this business is, vertical integration. We look at revenue streams that complement each other. So financial planning, mortgages, you get a mortgage, you need insurance, asset finance, cars. So all of our revenue streams complement each other. And I think I took too long to do that. It took me about 6 years to do that. And what I realized is it's so hard to attract clients into your business that, okay, if we can attract them, we should be servicing them in every way that we can and create as many revenue streams as we can. but at the same time, keeping those revenue streams within line. It needs to complement. You can't be torn in two completely different directions.
Yeah.
So I probably would have done that a little bit earlier and just tried to expedite the growth a little bit earlier. And for me, it was getting that level of certainty. Oh, okay, we can grow now. But probably backing myself a little bit earlier and trying to grow and capture market share at an earlier date.
What's the best advice you would give to your 18-year-old self?
Well, I've got a financial planning background. So post-accounting, I did financial planning, and this isn't necessarily business related. But if I knew the power of compound interest, if I knew back then what I know now, I would be in a total different situation. So with our financial planning business, we're very, we love teaching young people the impact that they can have over a long time in investing. So if I was 18, if I was talking to my 18-year-old self, I would say, whatever spare money you've got, $5 a week, $10 a week, do something with it. Do something with it, park it somewhere where it can get compound interest. That's the one thing. I know not really business related, but I tell everyone that. And even when we're dealing with mum and dads, we talk to their kids about this stuff too. Get them started on a journey, get them understanding money, get them understanding the power of compounding. Because once you understand it and you see results, you're all in on it.
Nick, what does the future look like? What do you see as the main challenges moving forward in your industry and for you personally?
Yeah, we're actually really excited about our industry. And we obviously play in two major industries, being mortgage broking and financial planning. Mm-hmm. Financial planning has really been kicked pillar to post the last 5 years. It started with reduced commissions on insurance. A lot of people had to rethink their businesses and how to make them profitable. Then you had the Royal Commission and compliance come in, and now it looks like, which anyone who knew anything about the industry knew that was overdone. So I think financial planning is really in a good spot to grow. Yeah. And I think with mortgages, what we're seeing is a real contraction in the market. So you're seeing gone are the days of the one-man band in mortgage broking. It's getting too difficult to do that now. So we see the bigger groups like ourselves being able to really grow and really use, I guess, our experience, our systems and our processes to go to that next level. So we see a lot of opportunities, but from a challenge point of view, it'll continue to be people. It'll be having people there to facilitate your growth is such a challenge. Young people have different values than my age group, so you've got a different breed of worker coming through, which is fine and which is great. But keeping people motivated, I think, is going to be a real challenge moving forward, because there's this whole work-life balance thing, which I totally agree with, and I think it should be there. But you're just dealing with a different person now when you look at your employees. So people will continue to be our challenges, trying to keep everyone happy from a salary point of view, a purpose point of view, culture, because with growth, you just create more people and you create more HR effort. So that will continue to be our biggest challenge. I think we've had all the other challenges come and gone for quite some time now. Finance and financial planning. I think we've been through all the external factors. Now it'll just be our people, and how do we keep them motivated and happy and keep them on a growth trajectory as individuals.
So what sort of training do you do with your people? Because the strong message coming through all day today has been how important your people are, but also they create problems too. But well, constant training. We have, and we've learned a lot. Going from that small business space to medium business, you quickly learn that you can't just catch up with someone on an annual basis and tell them what their income is. You can't say to them, "Hey, would you like to do this role?" You've got to have a clear growth trajectory for those people. So when people come into our business, if they come in as a CSM role, there's CSM level 1, 2, 3.
and what are the competencies you need to get to that CSM role. If you want to go to the next role, which is a lending analyst, what do you then need to do? What's the trajectory? So, training is constant, really. It doesn't stop. But I think the biggest challenge is, being able to show someone their growth trajectory and actually having those foundations set. So they know when they come into your business, they know how to get to a salary that's 30% higher than what they're on now. They know what they've got to do. They know what the steps are, and they know the training is there that's available. But, we're in a position now where we've got sales management, we've got an operations leader. So all of these middle managers are constantly training our staff. But young people now, they want to know what's next. They're so hungry and they're so driven. They want to see the plan. Gone are the days where you can just say, just trust me, you'll do well, just work hard. That doesn't work anymore. So yeah, it's all about showing them on paper that trajectory and how do they get there, and then having the training to facilitate their growth at the same time.
Fantastic. And finally, do you have an exit plan?
Not yet. No. Well, I'm 40, so I get asked that a lot. But for me, look, we know what an exit would look like if it was to happen. But for me at the moment, I just enjoy business. As I said to you, my role is continuously changing. We're going into new revenue streams, so our plans are really based on what's the net profit margins we need to hit, and what are the growth rates we want to hit, achieving those net profit margins. That's our focus. There's no plan to exit. If it happens, it'll probably happen when we're least expecting it, which they often do. But for me at the moment, it's those two metrics: net profit growth, and how do we keep evolving this business?
Fantastic. Nick, that's been great today. Thanks so much. Really related to so much you're saying today. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.